Welcome to the Smarter Driver Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rick August. Here we talk about the things that really irk you when driving, because driving is emotional and we like nothing better than to police other drivers. And this is termed social driving. Here we give you tips and strategies to be a safer, smarter driver and help you get your license. Car's all gassed up. Let's get going. Hi there, smart drivers. Talking about space management, the fundamental component of defensive driving. If you put any habits in place, manage space in front, stop back one vehicle length from traffic in front. We're going to give you more information about that to reduce your chances of being involved in a rear end crash. Minimum safe distance. You want to create minimum safe distance in front of your vehicle and around all four sides, and especially between your vehicle and vulnerable road users, cyclists, pedestrians, motorcycle riders. 3 feet minimum between your vehicle and vulnerable road users. And the place that you're most likely to encounter vulnerable road users is at intersections, where more than 40% of crashes happen. At intersections, at interchanges, on the interstate and freeways. Know that when you're driving, and be aware, be vigilant when you're driving on highways and you come to an intersection in the cities as well. Okay, vulnerable road users, because vulnerable road users make up 25% of traffic fatalities in North America. If you take it on a global scale and you include the low-income countries in the world, Africa and Eastern Europe, then it's 50% of traffic fatalities are vulnerable road users. So minimum safe distance, and one place that you can always manage space is in front of your vehicle. And when I say this, drivers will come back to me and say, oh, if I leave space in front, people will cut in. Yes, they will cut in every now and again, but for the most part, they're going faster than you. They're only going to be there for a couple of seconds, and then you simply reclaim your space and carry on with your life. Good stuff to have a look at, and these links are down in the description as well. Defensive driving for new drivers who just got their license, because those who just got their license are at the highest risk of being involved in a crash in the first year after getting your license, because you're driving by yourself. There's a lot of things going on. Traffic is always changing. One situation may be harmless, and another situation may be dangerous if you throw in one different condition or something just slightly changed in the driving environment. So definitely have a look at that. That'll definitely help you out. Car and truck crashes. Again, the 2 truck crashes that I analyze in that video are both occurred at interchanges on the freeway. So definitely have a look at that. And as I said, the links are down in the description there. What is defensive driving? Defensive driving is putting in place skills, habits, and techniques that will keep you safe when you make mistakes and when other people make mistakes. It's not just you against the rest of the driving population. It's you making mistakes as well, because we get tired, we get distracted. Something is going on in the driving environment that we can't control or we can't understand, and we don't know how to respond to it. So we make mistakes as well as other people out there on the roadways. And this is one of the issues that I have with dash cams. And there are people all over the internet that are saying, oh, get a dash cam because, you know, they're unbiased observers and they will save you in the world of traffic crashes, and you're the best driver in the world and everybody else is terrible. You have to protect yourself with a dash cam. That's not true at all. Dash cams are double-edged swords, and they're watching you as well as watching other people as well. And I will tell you from personal experience of running a dash cam all the time and looking at dash cam footage, I make mistakes when I drive. I make mistakes. And so it's not a consideration to take lightly, and it's not something that you can put it in your car and think, oh, it's going to save me in the event of a crash. It may not. It may work against you. Know that when you get a dash cam. You're creating conditions that are managing risk. This is what you're doing with defensive driving principles and techniques. You're managing risk. You're creating conditions around your vehicle that will allow you to stay safe most of the time, okay? It's reducing the risk of being involved in a crash, and it's reducing the severity of a crash as well. You want to move from being reactionary to responding to what's going on in the driving environment. Space buys you time. Time buys you options. Options prevent crashes. The Smarter Defensive Driving Model. This is the course that's available over at the Smart Drive Test website. Social driving. What is social driving? Social driving is the way that everybody else drives out on the roadway. Following too close, speeding, not coming to a complete stop at stop sign intersections, driving over painted islands. This is all the way that everybody else drives in the driving environment. And for most people who drive, this is the information that they have, which informs their driving. They do what everybody else is driving they do what everybody else is doing on the roadway. They never question that they're following too close and that, being able to see the license plate might be dangerous. That's the extent of their driver training out on the roadways. Tools that you can put in your driving toolkit. Space management, speed management, observation, and communication. These are the 4 tools of the Smarter Defensive Driving model that will help you and keep you safe on the roadways. Minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. Road user groups, okay? Buses, trucks, trams, trolleys, bicycles, motorcycles, snowmobiles. All these different road user groups. You can manage and can maintain minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. It's less likely that you're going to be involved in a crash. Fixed objects. You do share the roadway with fixed objects. And in this traffic calming world that we now live in with speed bumps and flower planters and those types of things, it's simply something else for you to run into on residential streets. It's also kind of a bit of a obstacle course as you're driving through suburbs when they put in all these devices that are going to force vehicles to slow down on the roadways and whatnot. Space management. Keep space in front of your vehicle. That is the one place that you can always manage space. Stopping in traffic 1 vehicle length back is your best defensive posturing. In addition, it gives you numerous options, okay? First of all, it is defensive posturing against being rear-ended, because when you're sitting at a traffic light, you're not just idly sitting there, right? Not like the guy on the, one of the DashCam footages from a commercial fleet where he stops at the stop sign, brings out his big honking submarine sandwich and he's like honking down on his big submarine sandwich, not looking in his mirror, and he gets completely rear-ended, like hard rear end. I mean, imagine being the person sitting in the safety meeting and they show this DashCam footage and you're the person honking down on the big submarine sandwich. Distracted driving. Eating, drinking, cell phones, eating, drinking, cell phones, eating, drinking, cell phones, eating, drinking, cell phones. You need to have calm awareness. Even when you're sitting in traffic, you're watching that center mirror, watching those vehicles come up behind you, because it's defensive posturing against being rear-ended. It's calm awareness. It's knowing what's going on around your vehicle. Staying back 1 vehicle length, you can move out and around the vehicle in front if you change your mind. If the vehicle in front breaks down, you can move out and around it. If the car in front rolls back, for those who are driving manual transmissions, maybe the car in front of you has a manual transmission and they roll back. Now you're not going to have that vehicle rolling back into you. And in the ideal world of everybody staying back 1 vehicle length, all the traffic could move off together and you would actually reduce congestion within our cities and urban areas. Drive in the spaces between the clusters of cars out on the highways, on the freeways. If you're driving out on the highways and freeways, just have a look. You'll see all these big groups of cars. If you can stay out of those groups of cars, it's going to make you safer on the roadways, okay? Control the space in front. Have that 2 to 3 second following distance when you're on highways, when you're on interstates, because this is where most of the traffic fatalities happen, especially at night. Twice the number of crashes happen at night as opposed to in the daytime. And there's no doubt about why that happens. At night, drivers lose half their ability to see because it's dark. And the farther you get away from cities, the urban lights and overhead street lamps and those types of things, the more you rely on your headlights. Now, if you have a car built in the last 5 years, that's great because you've got those, light up the night sky with a photon torpedo LED lights. But anything older than 5 years, the headlights you know, they're okay, but they're not great. Manage speed to control space in front. Have that minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. And as well, in keeping with space management and speed, the other way that you know that traffic in front of you is slowing down is the spaces between the cars gets closer together, okay? The cars get closer together as they slow down. So when you see the cars getting closer together and bunching up, you know that they're slowing down, they're coming to a stop. Another way that traffic is going to slow down in front of you, and knowing this and figuring this out, is an emergency vehicle pulled over on the side of the road. A wrecker, a tow truck rather, pulled over on the side of the road with the lights flashing. Anytime that you have this happening on the side of the roads, traffic is going to slow down in both lanes. And know that as a driver, the traffic in front of you is going to slow down. Who's driving? If you're in a tailgate situation and somebody is tailgating you, you need to increase your following distance in front, because now you're driving your vehicle for not just you, but you're also driving with the person behind you who's the goofy person who's tailgating you. Several options if somebody's tailgating you, okay? Increase your following distance in front. If there's some place you can just pull over and let them pass, then let them pass. Multi-lane road. If you're in the left lane, move over to the right lane. So move from the outside to the inside lane and then let them pass and go and have their crash somewhere else. Be predictable on the roadways. Don't do something goofy. This is why I do not advocate U-turns. And I know that in some cities on the East Coast of the United States, in Maryland and other places, that U-turns are part and parcel of the driving culture. I don't agree. It's easier to just go around the block or turn into a parking lot, turn around and then come back out and go back the other way. U-turns are dangerous. You expose your flank, the blind side of your car, which is the passenger side of the vehicle. It's a high-risk maneuver, and reconsider it. If there's another option, take the other option to remain predictable on the roadways, because it's when people do goofy things on the roadway and it's unpredictable to what everybody else is doing according to the traffic patterns, that's when you're going to get into trouble on the roadways. The other reason that you want space is because you want to be looking as far down the roadway as possible to predict traffic patterns and interpret the actions of individual road users, and know that the types of vehicles on the roadway are going to change according to the seasons. We are coming into summertime. Pickup trucks towing caravans, camper trailers. Caravans and camper trailers are one and the same thing. Motorcycles, bicycles. There's more vulnerable road users, more pedestrians out on the roadway. And as well, we are coming into the time of year where there are the most number of traffic crashes. And I talked about this last week in terms of the United States of America, that people are convinced and hold the conviction that the wintertime is the most dangerous time to drive. This is the time of year, on snow and ice, you are going to die in a perilous traffic crash, when in fact that is not true and couldn't be farther from the truth. Summertime is the most dangerous time to drive, and it is the time for the highest risk of being involved in a traffic crash. And the statistics for the United States of America are that the states with the highest number of crashes are Mississippi, New Mexico, and North Carolina, the states that do not have winter. And the states with the lowest number of crashes are the states with winter. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Vermont, those are the states that have the lowest number of crashes during the year. It's because when people drive in bad weather, when it's raining heavily or there's snow and ice, they now have risk perception and they slow down and they drive with more skill and technique, as opposed to in the summertime when it's clear roads, it's sunny, and they speed and they follow too close and do all kinds of other goofy things on the roadway. Know that. Turning lanes, left lane to left lane, right lane to right lane. Look for rubberneckers, anything out of the ordinary along the roadways, a vehicle broken down, emergency vehicles on the side of the road, and those types of things. And know that there's going to be different vehicles on the roadways. Seasons play a key factor. Seasons are a key factor and predicting on what's going on to go on the roadway. The other thing in the summertime, look for out of state, out of province license plates. Look for signs along the roadway that mark camping sites and whatnot, because if you're following a pickup truck and a camper trailer and there's a sign down the road that says there's a camping area, that truck in front of you may pull off. So that's another indicator of communicating intent of what potentially might happen when you're on the roadway. Interpret the actions of individual road users looking farther down the road, okay? Zipper merges, you know it's my pet peeve, okay? Do not zipper merge. Do not wait to the last second to move over at a bottleneck, okay? Get over as soon as you can. That way you're going to keep yourself safe and you're going to be able to manage that space in front of your vehicle, and you're not going to be relying on the trust and hope of another person that they're going to do the right thing and allow you to get in when you get to the bottleneck. Paying attention to your driving and maintaining that space in front. If you can maintain space around the other sides, even better. Mapping intersections, tracking road users. MIT, not just a university in Boston, Massachusetts, okay? As we talked about in the introduction, talked about earlier, 40% of the crashes, 40% of traffic crashes, more than 40% of traffic crashes happen at intersections. Intersections are also the place where you're most likely to encounter vulnerable road users, cyclists, pedestrians, motorcycle riders. 25% of traffic fatalities in North America are vulnerable road users, pedestrians. And you're most likely to encounter them at intersections, and especially after dark. And we know that not all pedestrians wear high-vis clothing, okay? High visibility clothing, cyclists and those types of things. Most of them that get hit are wearing dark clothing and jaywalking or doing something unpredictable on the roadway. So at intersections, pay particular attention. Look for movement in the darkness to prevent being involved in a crash with those road users that are doing goofy things in and around the intersection. Where are the intersections? What kind of intersection is it? Is it a multi-lane intersection? Is it a simple intersection? Is it controlled with a traffic sign, or is it controlled with a traffic light? Where are the road users at that intersection? Where are the slip lanes? Who and what vehicle could potentially cross your path of travel as you're approaching that intersection? Because my favorite question as a driving instructor, what does a green light mean? Inevitably, most people will argue green means go. No, green means go if the way is clear. You only have the right of way if it's clear and you can proceed on a green light. That doesn't mean that somebody's not going to do something goofy at the intersection. And again, it's not about right of way. Oh, I had the right of way and it was the pedestrian's fault. You could have avoided that crash. Imagine how bad you would feel, because most of us are good people, right? We're not evil. We're not sociopaths or psychopaths or those types of things. Most of us are good people. If we hit somebody on a motorcycle and we kill them, or we hit a pedestrian in an intersection and they go flying up over the hood of our car, we're going to feel incredibly bad. Okay? Look at the article down in the description there, we should be more afraid of driving. It's about the driver, the newspaper journalist who wrote the article, hit a pedestrian on the interstate at night. He felt incredibly horrible about that. He was like, what could I have done differently? And the reality is, those kinds of crashes, that's an accident, okay? That's on the pedestrian, unfortunately. What are you doing wandering around on the interstate after dark? How are you possibly going to see somebody on the interstate? It is the last place that you expect a pedestrian. So there are accidents. These things do happen, and pedestrians have to take some responsibility in the fact that there's a car crash. But for most of us who are good people, we're going to feel absolutely horrible, terrible for a very, very long time if something like that happens in the driving environment. So think about that, okay? Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. For those of you watching here on the live stream and those watching on the replay, if you look down in the description, the Smarter Defensive Driving course, which is brand new, been completely revamped, 30% off. Use the coupon code down in the description there and head over to the Smart Drive Test website and you can get 30% off the Smarter Defensive Driving course, and it'll go through all of this information: social driving, space management, speed management, observation, all that information to help you reduce your chances of being involved in a crash on the roadways. Interesting enough about space management, I've been talking a lot about defensive driving. I've been talking about space management. There was a post today on the community tab. Maybe Corey can go over and grab that and just dump it in the comments there, where I talked about measuring distance, following distance in time. And the reason we measure it in time, 1 dinosaur, 2 dinosaurs, 3 dinosaurs, is because time speed, space, when you're driving is relative, right? And so when you got a 3-second following distance, the car in front or the vehicle in front passes a fixed object, you start counting 1 watermelon, 2 watermelon, 3 watermelon. You go past the same post. That's your 3-second following distance. It's not 3 car lengths. It's not 1 vehicle length for every 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. And I know this is posted in the Federal Motor Carrier Act somewhere in the United States. And this is what I get when I ask the question about what the ideal following distance is. 2 to 3 seconds. You want minimum 2 to 3 second following distance. And a driving instructor actually left a comment on today's post on the community tab that when teaching adult drivers, those who have experience, they think following distance is being able to see the license plate of the vehicle in front of you. If you can see the license plate, you are way too close. That's your marker for parallel parking. That has nothing to do when you're driving down the roadway, okay? Elevator, I will be driving on a 2-lane road on Thursday. Any advice? So elevator fan, are you talking about like 2-lane in opposite directions? Is that what you're talking about? If that's the case, Corey will put up the video on 5 tips on driving on highways, and that will definitely help you out. 3-second following distance. That's the biggest thing the biggest piece of advice, elevator fan, that I can give you for driving on highways and keeping yourself safe. And as well, looking up, get your vision up, look as far down the road as you can to understand traffic patterns and interpret the actions of individual road users. As well, stay out of the clusters, because for whatever reason, when people get out on the highways, they want to drive in groups. Stay out of those groups on the roadway, and that will keep you safe. I posted this question on the weekend. I had a driver who got his license a couple of years ago and wrote a comment that, you know, I stay back 2 or 3 car lengths. 2 or 3 car lengths is not enough. It does not give you enough time to respond, because you don't want to react to what's going on in traffic, because you may get distracted slightly. Perfect story for this. Went to get the exhaust fixed on the buggy 10 days ago. Went into the shop, talked to my good friend Garnet, and he said he was telling me that his daughter got into a rear end crash. She was out on a 2-lane highway here west of town, and she was speeding. He admitted she was speeding. She was doing 70 kilometers an hour in a 50, which is like 40 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone. But you have to understand, it's outside of town. And she has bad allergies. She sneezed. And as she sneezed, the car in front came to a stop for the car in front of her that was turning left, and she rear-ended the car in front of her. And he said, oh, it was speed, she was speeding, da-da-da-da. And I said, no, she wasn't speeding. She was following too close. Had she maintained a 3 to 4 second following distance out on the highway, she would have had plenty of time to be distracted, to sneeze, and then look up and go, okay, the car in front is stopping. This is the other piece. So the 2 pieces of that scenario, on the one hand, a new driver not observing, looking at the end of their hood, they're not looking as far down the road as they can see and trying to understand traffic patterns and interpret the actions of individual road users. The second piece is they're following too close and they don't have enough time to respond to what's going on. They're hoping on a wing and a prayer that they can react in time to get the vehicle stopped, and oftentimes it doesn't happen. Okay, it simply doesn't happen. Today we're talking about observation, we're talking about space management, we're talking about you maintaining minimum safe distance between you and the vehicles ahead of you. Because if you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. And we talk about the number 1 crash in North America is the rear end crash. More so than reported windshield damage. So what I'm talking about is when people get a crack in their windshield or a stone chip, that's reported to insurance company, because if you have collision insurance on your vehicle, you can get your windshield replaced under that collision insurance. That's part and parcel of collision insurance. That's why you pay so much for it. So more rear end crashes than reported windshield damage. This is how bad the problem is in terms of rear end crashes. And it is first and foremost space management, that 2 to 3 second following distance behind other traffic, and as well, observation, getting your vision up and looking as far down the road as you can see. Because defensive driving is no longer about doing the right thing in an emergency situation. Defensive driving is about prevention. It's about preventing the crash. What can you do to prevent that crash? How can we do that? And we're talking about space management. If you can create these 2 habits, 2 to 3 second following distance minimum And as conditions on the roadway deteriorate, you want to increase that following distance even more. And then you want to stop back from in traffic 1 vehicle length. If you can put those 2 driving habits in place, that is going to improve your driving 100-fold. I tell you that. I guarantee you that right now. If you have any questions, leave us a comment down in the comment section there. We'll do the best to answer your questions and help you out and give you more information to be a safer, smarter driver. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. All the best. Bye now. Thanks for listening to the Smarter Driver Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rick August. If there's something you'd like us to talk about or something that really irks you about driving and the things that other drivers do, leave us a comment, hit that like and subscribe button, and be sure to check out the Smarter Driver course package if you want skills and abilities to become a safer, smarter driver and significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. Thanks again, all the best, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day.